Well, I'm Don Russell, and it's an honor today to be here to interview James Cantrell. We're at his home, and Mr. Cantrell certainly has had an extraordinary life. Tom Brokaw said he wrote a book entitled The Greatest Generation. And Mr. Cantrell is a part of that great generation. And I want to thank you for taking the time and being willing to let us interview you today and share your story. So would you just begin by telling us when you was born and who your parents were?
I was about October the 16th, 1921. I was born on Charity Lane, and back then they didn't go to the hospital, they brought it home. And so I was born at home on Charity Lane.
So you're about to have a birthday then?
Yeah, the 16th of October, I'll be 97.
97 years old. Now, where did you attend school at here in North Alabama? I know.
New Sharon.
New Sharon.
Yeah.
New Sharon. How was you when you was you drafted into the military, or did you volunteer?
I was drafted.
You was drafted. So
Back then, they give you numbers,
Mm-hmm.
and if you got a low number, you had to go pretty early. If you got a high number, you probably didn't have to go at all. So that's the way they did it.
I understand. So how old was you when you was actually drafted in?
21.
21 years old.
Yeah.
Now that was before you met your wife. You were still at home?
No. I was working in North Carolina for a while,
Okay.
but of course I had to register here
Mm-hmm.
in Alabama. And of course you had to notify them where you were, so they could, when they get called, they like that sign you seen on the road, Uncle Sam.
Mm-hmm.
He pointed his finger at it and says, "I want you."
Mm.
And he got me.
Okay.
But they notified me, and I come back here a while, stayed with mother and dad a while, and boy went.
I understand. Well, so now you had others out of your family that had served in the military. Is that right?
Yeah, my brother served. He was in Italy.
Now, did he go in before you did, or
No, he come in after I
after
did.
you did?
Yeah.
So you was the first one out of the family to go.
Right.
I imagine that was pretty hard for your mom and dad.
Yeah, it was.
It was. Now, was you a Christian when you went into the military?
Yeah, yeah.
You'd already accepted the Lord.
Right. I
Okay.
remember at Bethlehem.
At Bethlehem Baptist.
Yeah.
Now, where did you go in and do your basic training at?
I went first to McClellan, Alabama, and of course they check you, see if you were healthy enough to go.
Right.
And I went to McPherson, Georgia, where I was swore in, and went from there to Scottsville, Illinois. Went to radio mechanic and operator school. And I was there 10 weeks, studying the electricity, radio receivers and transmitters.
Now, what year was that you went in? Do you remember?
No, right at the moment I don't. Well, I can't even see on my note. I don't remember exactly what year it was.
Was World War II already
Oh yeah,
going on?
yeah. The World War II, of course, started with England, and we didn't get into the war for quite a while.
Right.
Churchill come over several times and talked to President Roosevelt, wanted him to come in and help. But he put him off a while. But finally he agreed. Of course, when the Japanese hit Pearl Harbor, killed about 2,060-something military and about 68 civilians, I think he didn't have a problem getting in.
Right. Right.
So I went from Baton Rouge, Georgia, up to school, and when I come out, I went down to Florida, MacDill Field, Florida, where they had, of course, I was in the Air Force. Back then, the Air Force was under the Army. They were together.
Right.
And I went down to MacDill, where they had the B-26, and it was a small bomber, And of course it's used for what we call hedge hopping. There's a low flying that take the bombs and drop them right quick and buzz off. And that was a small plane, and I thought, well, I got in the Air Force, I won't have to dodge any bullets. So much for that. So went up in the airplane. We had to go up and test them, bring them back in, And I was standing between the pilot and co-pilot. They would go out, go around, come in all over the bay. And I was looking down at the speed, and it said it was redlined at 300 and something speed. I thought he was just going to glide in. He said, no, you fly this in, you don't ride it. He says, another thing, we can't fly with one motor. I said, uh-oh. I said, I'm in the wrong fit outfit now. But they put more on the wing, so it made it safer. But it wasn't long till they had an order for radio men overseas, England. And I thought, well, I'll be first and go because I was the last one got there. So I was shipped over to Jacksonville, Florida, to get my overseas training. Well, I got a little bit. I was on a fast track. I didn't realize how fast. I didn't get a furlough home and nothing, no days off.
So from the time you actually was drafted, you didn't get to come back?
No. In fact, didn't go nowhere and do nothing. We supposed to have got some overseas training, but we were there. We were supposed to hike 35 miles, but it wasn't 35 miles. I come back and went to New Jersey, got on the boardwalk there and got a little more training. Then I went to New York and caught a boat. And a few days was in England. I went to Reading, England, where it was the 8th Air Force. Well, they have a pool where they send all the whatever vocation they had. Then they'd ship them out to wherever they're supposed to go. Uh-huh. And I was in that pool, and I'd always made corporal. Well, one day here come Lieutenant Colonel and took me about 5 miles off post to a radio station. And seemed my life had several turns. It came me down and told me, you'll be over this radio station. It was transmitters that would transmit a beam for the bombers if there's damage, something needing a signal to ride back on. Mm-hmm. They would ride that signal back to Reading, the back airport.
Now this is in England?
Yeah, Reading, England. Mm-hmm. There's an airfield there.
Okay.
And I was there. He introduced me to and all of them were sergeants. And I had 3 sergeants and a cook, and we're supposed to live there. And he says, now you'll draw rations for the month. You got a cook, you're in the kitchen, and says, you'll get their mail, go up and get their mail and bring it in. I said, I believe there's something wrong here. I said, I'm corporal. I said, they're sergeants. I said, I didn't know a corporal would be over sergeants. He says, well, you can feel sure this is all right because it's Simon's general. I said, okay. But they said it's all right. It's all right with them. And so I was there a while. Well, because they'd come get me to go other places. One time, went to the crypto room, which, and I thought funny, I said, something wrong. I said, I don't have secret clearance. He says, "Oh, yes, you do." I said, "I didn't know about it." No, I had it ever since I left Jacksonville,
Wow.
and nobody told me. I think the same happened to Ronnie, my son.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, wasn't long to come get me to go somewhere else. And I told him, I said, I'm supposed to get sergeant ratings. Oh, he said, you can get them later. Well, I was going up to the company to get my mail and to pick up mail for our body. And the lieutenant, of course, in that pool, he put him on detail, KP, kitchen duties. And he put me on the kitchen. I said, I can't, Lieutenant. I said, my orders say not to. Well, it made him mad. Well, he wasn't going to give me my straps.
Uh-oh.
Well, that went on a while. And the clerk in the order room told me, he says, he ain't going to give you your straps. I said, well, I ain't worried about it. So, wasn't long. I seen the colonel. I said, well, he said, you'll get them later. Well, this went on for a while. I went out. Major Parker from Alabama come and wanted to play football. I said, I don't know if I got time of where I can get off or not. He says, yeah, I done made arrangements for that. Well,
So he took care of that.
Here we go again. And said, I want you to play right tackle. I said, well, I never played football. I played baseball, basketball. Well, I said, yeah, I know you can do it. I said, okay. That went on a while. Named Red Devils. They had a pretty good team. We went to the playoff, but we got beat by the Marines. This went on a while, and, well, all of a sudden, they locked down the base. No phone calls. We knew we was expecting any time invasion. That was it. Well,
Now, when you say invasion, you're talking about D-Day?
D-Day, yeah.
Okay.
And picked me up, carried me down to the beach, the channel where you go across. And I said, well, this is it. Well, there's 13 of us together. And 2 radio men, me and Sergeant Burns. And we sat there waiting and had all of our equipment there. We had a truck with equipment on the back of it, radio stuff and everything, like the airplanes have. We were supposed to direct traffic for Patton. That's what, when he'd call for air support, there's a little P-47 would land next to our truck. The engineers would scrape off a place and that P-47 would land there. And they'd load him up with bombs. He'd put 3 bombs, one on the belly and one on the wings. And I couldn't see how he was going to get off, but he did. But he'd drag off. And of course, they'd send him, Pat would tell him where he wanted them to hit. And some of the best coordination I think I've ever seen. Engineers would have that thing loaded and off before the artillery could hit us. But you can believe we got the artillery after he left. You could key your radio and it wasn't but a few minutes it'd hit you. And, well,
So where exactly was you located at that time?
We was landed on D-Day 4 night. We went at night.
Went at night.
And
Where did you go ashore?
Omaha Beach
Omaha Beach.
is a code name. If you've seen on television, there was a big bank where some soldiers had to climb that bank. There's a big gun there.
Right.
And the gun was killed because there's one of the guys that told me that he said there was killing so many people. The ships you know, they had steps down the side for them to get off. Said they piled up on there, killed them so fast that they had to push them off in the water to get off. And said they couldn't get close because they had a lot of objects to keep them coming in close.
So this was the first wave that went in?
First wave went in. And that place was almost a failure, what they told me. Said there's just a few men, 2 or 3 in fact, he said, climbed up and took the gun out. And then they was, you know, kind of free to go. And I walked, we landed there and went in and dug our foxhole, and it was dark. And we dug our foxhole and got in. And all of a sudden, I heard a bunch of noise down the left. Well, we had dug our foxhole right next to that gun.
Oh, no.
When the plane had come over, that thing was rattling, you know, and scared us to death. We thought we'd done shot. And anyway, we stayed there, I think a day or two. Here come the engineers and fixed the place for the plane to land. And we got him and on and off. And but when we went in, 2 ships, battleships, were sitting there and had them long guns. And they would shoot several miles in. They were going just as fast as they could shoot. Each one of them had 3 or 4 guns on the front of them, the big guns. And that was going on all the time.
Now, were they shooting over your head?
Oh yeah, miles in. But we was in, the line was in about they said 2 or 3 miles. A little place called St. Marie. This is about 4 here to Hazel Green, a little farther, Walnut Grove. That's about as far as the line was.
Okay.
Well, they said it St. Mary Elise, that's where it was. Little small town. Well, he said, they called, said, be ready to get back on the ship. Says, we lost the town. Well, we prepared to get back on the ship, and that's why they called back and said, all right, we took it back.
So the Germans did a counter
Yeah.
attack, and
Yeah.
y'all had to back
They did.
back
The
out?
line had to back up, give them the town back to the Germans. But we woke up the next morning and, well, I don't think we ever slept, but daylight anyway. Well, out there and we dug our foxholes about, 4 years to the end of the house here. Dead German soldiers laying. I didn't see any American soldiers, didn't got them up, but they had left the German soldiers there. So that shook us up a little bit. But we would move up. When the line would move up, we'd move up behind the line. And that process all the way to Germany.
So you was doing the calling in of air support and that kind of
Yeah,
things by
yeah.
the radio, is that correct? So you used the radio.
Yeah, well, it was radio, yeah.
Yeah.
I was a repairman and operator.
Right.
And we had some was just operators. They'd, and if a plane was crippled, we'd give him he had one radio, the emergency on there, and we'd have him to key that mic and hold it, then let off. And then we'd do it again, and we could tell him right where he was, because he had a compass on there too. And they'd pinpoint it, and we'd tell him which way to go. We got so busy though, we had to give it to the other group. We stayed busy was planes, a lot of them were crashing, and if it's close, I had to go, they had a box on there, it put out a signal, identified the plane being free, friendly, friendly. And I had to go, Bill Burns had to take that off, keep it or destroy it. So we destroyed it because we didn't have a place to keep them, because that was a secret. And they had a plug on there. It was painted red and had another cord hanging down there to plug in there. Well, all I had to do was plug it in and blow it up.
Oh.
Yeah. And
So
it
you
wouldn't-
all had to destroy those
yeah,
radios?
Yeah. And of course, anyway, we could help if we had to help somebody, fine. And we stayed pretty busy answering calls. And you had to be listening all the time. Of course, we could hear what was going on the air, the fighter planes.
Mm-hmm.
We could hear them talking, fighting. And that was pretty interesting too. And of course, we could hear if one was getting shot. We had one to come in. I don't see how he ever got there, but he landed and he stopped right in the middle of the little runway we had. He had a hole sat in the side of the plane right behind the pilot. That hole was that big around him. The radio was falling out. And he landed. And I asked him, how in the world did you land? He says, how'd you got it? He says, I didn't. He says, all thing I could do was land it straight in. He says, I happened to be lined up with your runway.
Wow. Wow.
That was another coincidence.
Yes.
Looked like some things happened that you didn't know nothing to do with.
Amen. So now you was helping Patton at this time?
Yeah, Pat, we followed him. That guy was something else. He was everything I say he was. He didn't say, the guys that we talked to, they said that somebody said he didn't say go on, he said come on.
He led.
Yeah. And he wore them 2 pistols.
Wow.
He was famous for them.
Wow.
But I tell you, they needed several like him to win the wars.
When I know at some point there was some planes that came over and strafed where you all were at.
Yeah.
Was it during this time or later on?
That was later on. That's
Okay.
where I got
I don't
hurt.
want to get ahead of your story. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, we'd move up, kept moving up, and there's 3 groups of us. We'd sit and we'd get this, and another group would get the next one. So we had a little time in between times. We'd restock our stuff and rest a little, and we'd go next one. And there's 2 or 3 airports that we had to attend. Ohio, one in Brussels, Belgium. We had to keep it a little while till others could come in and take over, and we'd move on. But in the meantime, we'd have these scrapes. We had, when we first before we made it, we had one artillery piece kept hitting us. There's a big 88 gun, hitting up 88. Kept hitting us, and they couldn't find it. And it just kept hitting. Well, they finally found it. And it was in a building, and they had the top where it would slide back and forth. They would fire it, and it'd push the top back over. But they found it, and they got it. Another one was down on the beach before we moved from the first one. Me and Burns decided we'd go over and look at the place where they climbed up and took out that gun. And underneath that place, they had almost a little city. I mean, equipment you wouldn't believe under there.
Underground.
Underground. And, well, we started in there. There was some houses along there, and we had to go through the yard just to go and get around there. And I noticed a wire across the gate, and I seen it, so I just ducked under it. And they had some of the, what they call potato mashers. Grenades had handles on them, and they'd take on that handle and throw it. And you could throw it quite a ways. I always saw some of them. And, well, they didn't care if you seen that. they had a mine sitting in the middle of the gate.
Oh.
Now, we didn't see it. We stepped over it and didn't ever see it till we come out the gate, coming back out. I saw
So
it.
someone was watching over you there, wasn't
That's why I tell you some of the things that happened.
he? Right, right.
And so then we got out the gate and started back over just a little ways where we were. We got shot at by a sniper. It was closed because we heard it go by between us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can believe we didn't go sightseeing no more. And we had one, these planes I was taking about hedge hopping.
Mm-hmm.
They'd real low come in. They had this kind of long bombs. And they'd come and just drop that bomb and it would slide, you know. And the tree was in the end and it wouldn't go off till it hit something. Well, it went right down the runway. Our truck was sitting beside the runway. And it never did go off. It went on down toward the woods and then it hit nothing.
Wow. So you've had some real close calls there.
They come and got it. It never did hit nothing to go off. Somebody said they used it for torpedoes too. I don't know that much about it. But it was longer than normal bombs.
And it just went right past your truck.
We're out on past.
Hmm.
But so many things happened like that. I went to London, England for the invasion. We got some new radios, and it's going to put one of them in each plane because the British and the Americans had to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
It had about 5 channels on it. All the pilot had to do was mash a button, and it changed channels for him. And I had to go there a week to study on it. And they bombed London all the time. I mean, just constant siren going in there and there. And I was in a building there, pretty long building, and we was on about the 4th floor. Well, they have a raid, and we'd go down to the basement.
To the bomb shelter.
And well, they had a raid, and it got pretty regular. I was there a week, and they the bomb hit, and of course we saw it. We're down in when the siren went off. We went on down. Well, it hit the end of the building, and they said it went all the way down. And
Even down into the basement.
yeah, but we was on the other end of it, a little ways about. Well, it was longer than this. It's quite a long building, and it didn't go off. And some of the English said they dropped quite a few bombs that never did go off. They said all it was doing just disturbing people, keep you awake, and all that kind of thing. They done that at night, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And plane would come over just to keep us awake.
Wow.
And they had one on the radio. I believe in Tokyo, on the West Coast, they had one they called Tokyo Rose.
Mm-hmm.
And we had one over there too. And just all they done is keep you awake, didn't let you sleep. So looked like there's all the way through the war, just different things happening. And then no rest, much at all. I went through England, went through France, went through Belgium, went through Holland, and these kind of things were happening all the way up. But we got to Germany, and we was pretty close to the line, I guess. We didn't know because we was just moving up, and we hadn't got to where we was going yet. But met some soldiers, said said, "You got a meal, hot meal up here a little further in the woods." Said, "You stop and get you a hot meal." And we hadn't had a hot meal since we'd been way back in, it was where we stopped for a while. Some civilians invited us in to have a hot meal. And but we stopped to get a hot meal. We parked our meal and everything down in the woods, put our tents down, and got our mess kits and went over and got in line like I always do, and to eat. And all of a sudden, here come planes. They done found us.
Oh,
They let loose, shooting and carrying on. Well,
that was when they started strafing y'all.
Strafing, yeah.
Oh,
and they're shooting them bullets that set stuff afire. And it set our stuff afire. And well, me and one of the other guys jumped on the back of the truck to get the fire extinguishers and to fight the fire. And well, the driver, I reckon he got excited. He was going to take off and get away, I guess, I don't know. He drove out from under us with them fire extinguishers on her shoulder. And when I fell off, I hit my hole, and it just tore that shoulder all to pieces. And, well, I never did get that hot meal.
oh, bless your heart.
Well, but that hot meal we did get with them people, we were stopped for a while, and several days. Well, they were right there close, a little village. And of course, we talking to them, they were real nice. That was in Belgium.
In Belgium.
Yeah. And a little cafe down there. Well, we'd go down there and sit and talk. Older lady running it. And well, and there's another lieutenant coming in there. I don't know where he's from. And she had a daughter there. He was going with her daughter. So that's the reason he come back. They had a little card game. When I was at home, they called it Author. It had numbers on it. And we play them, and that's what they were playing. It had no numbers on it.
Oh,
And I started playing, and I got to where I had to go down there every night, play together. And this older man there, the lady that owned it, I think he was courting her, an older feller. And they wanted me to come back, you know, I'll go back to see you. And well, that older man, he says, "I believe you can beat the lieutenant's time." I said, "No." I said, I can't pull the reins on lieutenant.
You didn't want to try that, did you?
Anyway, it was a little joke. But
Well,
the
now,
people were real friendly.
were they? They appreciated what you were
But
doing.
the man, he owned the winery there, the little winery. And he invited us out to his house to eat. And I mean, he put on the food. And he says, "Bring the whole bunch." And well, it was 13, but we lost 3. So I brought the whole bunch in. And boy, did they feed us.
Well, now tell me, you was at the Battle of the Bulge as well.
Yeah, I was fixing to tell you about
Okay,
that.
I'm sorry, don't get ahead of your story.
No, that's all right. When I got hurt, they moved on up toward the front line. Little did we know we were surrounded. We didn't even know it. And we didn't really know how close we were to the line, because we were just moving up. We were supposed to move up close to the line. Well, I got hurt, and the medic come, and he says, "Right now I ain't got no dope for pain medicine." Said, "Maybe I get some." Said, "You just lay down here in the sun." And well, I lay down, and he said, "I can't get you out of here." And I didn't know to start with what he meant. Well, little did I know we were surrounded.
Surrounded by the Germans.
Yeah. They moved on and they got captured. So they said now. I mean, he said, well, everybody up front got captured. Says we're surrounded. So what they're doing, they were surrounded and the planes were just going in the middle shooting, like shooting a fish in a barrel.
Oh, goodness.
Well, so I just laid around there. Well, the curious thing happened. I guess he must have got some dope. I never did know when I left there. Now, when I woke up, come to, I was in a field hospital. It looked like it had been used for a school, a small school. They had a room full of soldiers, I guess about 30, 40 in one room. And they were doing the operations, and 2 doctors and 2 nurses. And they were doctoring them out here in this big room. Looked like a gymnasium.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, they patched me up and banded up back in place. It just fell out of socket. And they put it back in and taped it up. And he said, well, they'll have to do more when you get back to the States. Well, I stayed a while after I got back. Then it just fell out of, it was dropping out of socket. Didn't have enough muscle to hold it in socket. It deteriorated till I just couldn't handle it.
Mm.
And I went to Nashville. They said, well, it says, I don't know where we can save your arm or not. They said it had enough ligaments are tore up so bad you can't tie them yet. Says we're gonna have to. Says we're gonna try. Well, they wired it in. They tied wire over to a collarbone up down here, and they tied it in the socket. Made me some kind of socket, and that pad in there was gone.
Mm-hmm.
They put a pad of some kind in there. Put it up there, and of course it's down a little bit, but it stayed there.
Mm.
And wired it in.
So it was in bad shape.
And well, they didn't have anything to replace a shoulder, and it wasn't a thing that was authorized to do.
Mm-hmm.
Which says we're gonna try. Well, I got feeling quite bad because he said we got a 50-50 chance of saving your arm by doing it. And well, I was around there for a day or 2, and I saw soldiers with no arms, no legs. I said, I'm in good shape.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was ready to go home.
Well, now in the Air Corps, the part of the Army, was you around Eisenhower much?
Yeah, while I was in, I believe it was up in Brussels, after I took Brussels, Belgium, they come and got me again. And didn't know where I was going. Of course, it never did matter because they wasn't going to tell you no way. And I took off down in the boondocks. I thought they called it boondocks, woods. It's at that close to the Brussels airport. And that's where my buddy got killed.
Now tell me about your buddy just a minute
Okay.
over there. Who was he?
Oh, I tried to put it last because
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
it's all right. I went down there and had a little building there, one person there. Now, but they had me and a mechanic, airplane mechanic. I was a radio operator and mechanic. And I talked on it, and the plane was sitting out there back. They had places back off of the runway. They pull planes and park them.
Mm-hmm.
That was back in the woods, right at the end of that ramp. And, well, I guess I was supposed to check the plane. But when Wasn't long, here come our general. And they told us what was there for.
So you actually saw him?
Oh yeah, he sat down and talked to us.
Is that right?
He'd come in and he'd sit down there and had a break room, like like the pilots have. He'd sit down and talk to us. And he'd take off. Now the plane was a B-17. It was converted for him. It had a big picture window on the side of it. And he had nice couches and everything. Now he could fly around there and look over. Nobody knew he was doing that.
Wow.
And I'm sure that,
So you was inside that plane?
oh yeah, we took it up and checked it out. That was our job.
So you actually flew it?
We'd go up and pre-flight it. They call it pre-flight.
Mm-hmm.
You had to take it up, check the radios, and the pilots would check everything. That's why we pre-flight them.
Wow.
And of course, it's pretty safe there then in Brussels, because they'd done moved on up.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd done that a day or two. And he come in, told us he's leaving, and he gave us a picture, and told us he appreciated it.
Wow.
And he took off. But he talked about the war. He said he dreaded it because he knew a lot would be killed. And there were a lot killed. But he was real nice.
So you've had quite experience with Eisenhower and also in Patton's.
Yeah. Yeah. Patton, he run out of ammunition and gas. We had a gas truck. We had a water truck, and had all of our provisions. We carried it with us, everything.
Right.
We'd have to stop once in a while and replenish. But he run out of gas. And they said he called and told them, said, if you don't send some gas, there's no ammunition and food.
Wow.
Said we won't need it by then.
Mm.
And well, he sat back and took our gas leak.
Wow.
Left us sitting in the field. But he done what was needed.
So you had a lot of respect for him too.
Oh yeah. Now he was a little rough on the edges, but he got the job done. He got it done.
Well, we're continuing our conversation with Mr. James Cantrell. What a fascinating conversation it has been. And so, Mr. Cantrell, could we pick it back up now and just tell us what you...
Yeah, went to work at the Arsenal when I got back. And I was worked there, and current my Army time was 36 years, and retired there.
So you worked at Redstone for 36 years?
Yeah, well, counting my Army time.
Yes, okay.
And I was working with, talking about the guy fell in the river.
Yes.
And I was going to work one morning. I'd sick with a cold, and I just got back to work. And I was going to work one morning, and had a flood had flooded the lower part of the Arsenal, and they're going in the back gate. The cars had stopped before, I guess about a dozen cars wasn't getting through the gate. And we stopped, and I had 3 riders with me. We got out and started looking, listening. Somebody said that a soldier fell in the river, and said he's down yonder. I looked down and there he was, hanging on to the curve around the swift water, and as he went around that, he caught to a bush on the bank, and he was hollering help.
Oh my.
No, Lacey said it. He said, "You just hand me your coat and walked off in the water. You didn't say nothing." I said, I I didn't realize. I told you, I didn't realize. I guess what happened. I don't know.
You just instinctively jumped
I
in to
guess-
save him then. Okay.
Just like, well, yeah, I guess you've automatically done things, but I hadn't done that before.
Mm.
Well, I'd been taught how to first aid
Right.
and about a drowning, rescuing a drowning man, and safety. I had all that. And he said I just walked off in the backwater, and I didn't get in the swift water. I went back and come up behind him, and I told him, I said, now don't you grab me, because if you let them grab you, you'll drown both of you. That's what they taught.
Right.
And they were desperate. Well, I told him what I was going to do, and said, now I'm going to get over in the swift water, and I'm going to pull you out. And I said, you hold to the bush till I get my arm on you, and I'm going to come up behind you. I said, don't you grab me. I said, if you do, I'm going to have to hit you. And I'd been taught, you take your hand like that, hit you right across the top of your ear real hard. It addles you,
Right.
and it gives you time to get him. And
Safe.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I done that. He done right. I pulled him back out of the swift water, and well, now I had a problem. It was about, I guess, 4 here to the road a little further, and was trying to figure. The fire department was out there. I was trying to figure out how to get us out in. Well, I done planned to go back out of the backwater, but it was a long ways around. And doing the boat, that boat they had, wasn't doing good in swift water.
Mm.
It would have went right on by us. And I told them, if you had a rope long enough, of course, the fire department went and got a rope. And they put the rope in, I put it in right at the edge of the water. And when it comes to it, I'll tie it around him, and you can drag both of us out. Well, they put their rope in, it come out straight to us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's quite amazing, and especially not only did you save his life, but with the shoulder injury that you had, how you was ever able to get him to safety like
It's a funny
that.
thing, I asked the doctor when he fixed the shoulder. I said, how about lifting? Can I lift anything? He says, if you think you can lift it, lift it. Says, that's wire. He says, you ain't gonna break it.
Wow.
He says, don't force it nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And that's as high as I can bring it there.
Wow.
But this way, I'm good. I pick up something. Good.
So you actually, after that, received one of the highest civilian awards that
Yeah.
you could receive
From the Army,
from the, on the
highest
civilian.
award.
Wow.
But we got out and we were shaking like a leaf. We carried us down to the infirmary, put us on one of them Army cots. We were shaking so bad, he was shaking the bed. The colonel come in, and first thing he says, go get him some hot coffee and pour some whiskey in it.
Oh, oh my.
But and we got all right. I didn't have no repercussions of being sick.
Wow.
But
Well, you know, one of the things that in military life, when soldiers are in battle, is that they fight for their buddies, and they a lot of times, while they will fight to win the victory, they also fight for their buddies primarily at the time. So, tell me about, you had a friend that you went through
yeah,
the war with.
that's a peculiar thing. You always got a buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And you was always together. And me and Burns was together.
Burns was his name?
Yeah, Sergeant Burns.
Mm-hmm.
We was always together every minute, every hour when we all had to run off somewhere to help somebody.
Right.
And we dug foxholes because one had to get up, the other had to get up. We had to go together all the time.
Right.
And if a plane crashed close, But we slept, we took a long hole. We slept foot to foot. And we, during the night, we'd wake up and talk.
Right.
And I didn't smoke. He smoked, and they had to give us allotments of cigarettes. I'd always give him my allotment. And it kind of rained a little bit one morning. All we had was them. We was in the foxhole, and we had them little tents we put over us when it rained.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up one night, and I raised up, but Burns was still laying down. Well, the water was in on it, was run down on him in his face. I heard him go, "Whoo!" And so we woke up and was talking, and he said, "Jim, I'll never make it."
Mm.
And sure enough, he didn't.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And y'all was together from the very start.
But I always thought maybe if I'd been with him,
So he was actually killed after you was injured. Is that right? Is that what separated
no,
y'all?
it was before.
It was before.
Yeah.
Mm.
But that's hindsight, you know.
Wow.
But he had a feeling he wasn't gonna make it.
And so he was killed.
He was Catholic.
Was he?
Yeah.
Well, let me just say to you that I thank you for serving our country, and I believe our nation owes a debt of gratitude to men like you, and those who served, and those who gave their life like your friend. So thank you so much, Mr. Cantrell.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.